Thank you everyone for giving me your time. My name is James Griffin. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I am a library software engineer with the Princeton University Library. Today I'm going to be providing a brief update on the GitHub processes and permissions working group. Currently, Kate Lynch, also of the Princeton University Library, is serving as our chair. We have scheduled meetings bi-weekly, 11 a.m. Pacific for 2 p.m. Eastern. We have a dedicated Slack channel as well as a wiki page on the Samvera Community Confluence. So in order to just provide an overview of the charter scope and deliverables, basically we were formed in order to identify and call attention to longstanding pull requests and issues on any number of the current GitHub repositories managed under the Samvera organization. Also looking to structure and propose a rubric for identifying core components and identifying those which might need to be deprecated. Looking to propose a reconciled Ruby Gems and GitHub authorization set of policies, specifically also addressing what's involved in onboarding and offboarding some of our community members, as well as undertaking an audit for evaluating existing members of GitHub organizations and specifically the teams on GitHub. So we have made a substantial amount of progress so far in reviewing the criteria for core component promotions. The latest draft is available on the Samvera wiki, and I've linked to this here. A lot of discussions really just around this really just relate to what should remain a candidate for promotion, as well as what should be considered worthy of evaluation for potential deprecation. Underlying a lot of this, really just the subtext and context, is that while there might be a long-term goal of really integrating a number of core component GitHub repositories into Hyrax proper, there's going to be a number of very long community sprints that would be necessary before that could become a practical reality. And because we don't wish to impose on core developers in any way whatsoever, really keeping core components separate from the Hyrax main code base is going to be necessary in order to ensure that core contributors really have the most straightforward path to continuing frequent releases for Hyrax. There have been also a number of discussions had regarding GitHub reorganization, really managing team membership for identity and access management. We basically would hope to try and find a set of actionable steps to issue to the community to ensure that two-factor or multi-factor authentication is enabled for those who wish to contribute to Samvera GitHub repositories, as well as some early discussions regarding reconciling GitHub organization members and Ruby Gems contributors. For those who might not be as familiar, GitHub is where source code files are managed, whereas Ruby Gems is a centralized registry for Ruby libraries that that can be pulled in using the Ruby software tool bundler, but which must really be in a packaged formatted state and have a release number associated with these. Because GitHub and Ruby Gems are two separate organizations, two separate websites, there is no way of really reconciling the identities of common users between GitHub and Ruby Gems. In other words, there might be certain Ruby Gems releases that have contributors that exist on the Ruby Gems website using one username, but there'll be a different username on GitHub. And just trying to really reconcile these is going to be a bit more of a challenge. But definitely progress is being made in terms of how we're going to go about furthering much of these goals. For the future, really trying to see about looking to request resources from the community in terms of auditing teams on GitHub. Um, Basically, this would just involve just volunteering time to kind of go through the list of members on the GitHub organizations and repositories, and determining whether or not someone should really have access to the repositories if they haven't been actively involved in the community for years. Just trying to contact them. Discussing what kind of policies should be proposed for Ruby Gems authorizations. Who should have the ability to publish a new Ruby Gems release? Is going to be a blocker for anyone who looks to contribute. We want to be certain that they have the ability to publish a new patch release, which might fix a bug for those running Hyrax in production. And of course, ensuring that we effectively and frequently communicate with the Samvera community at large and request feedback in terms of any proposals that we're going to be sharing in the upcoming months. Those are all of the updates which I have. Will you please welcome you to join us again? The dedicated Slack channel is linked in the slides, and I can be certain to share a link to these slides following the updates. So thank you very much for your time.